Today I will be showing you how to make this beautiful projects and tasks template. Yeah, that's right, that's the template that is available to download on my Gumroad page. It's available for everybody for free. If you want to check it out, do get over there. Link will be provided in the description below. But without further ado, let's get right into the building. So first, when I'm trying to build, I'm always take a look at the projects and tasks at the community. So take a look what different people have built and try to see how can I improve on it. So first we're gonna be saying name, projects and tasks. We're gonna be setting the cover. Covers I generate using the AI in Canva, and actually if you're interested, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna make a separate video on it within my Notion tips section. For me it's really important. I like to design templates that are aesthetically pleasing, that are really beautiful, and that they should be working out of the box. Set this to a full page, projects and tasks, we have our icon, we have our cover, and let's start building the template. So first we want to be putting some headers, and my kind of shtick is always header ones with an emoji and as well as with nice green backdrop. So I'm gonna be putting emoji, and for the projects I want to do a bullseye or like a target, and then I'm gonna be creating a similar one. I'm gonna just duplicate it, and I'm gonna be calling the second one task. We have put in the check mark for the tasks and the bullseye for the projects. I think it's too nice, subtitles. So right now, this is tier 1. We are creating the structure. So whilst we are creating the structure, we really wanna do and create the database table. So first will be tasks DB, and automatically we're gonna be hiding the database title. We're gonna just rename the table to be empty, and I'm gonna be putting the clipboard because I like it. This is gonna be the task, so I need to change the name to be task, and then we're creating the basic fields within the projects and tasks table. The first one is gonna be assigned to, so we know who owns the task. Then we have obviously the due date. We technically don't need a description, those are simple, but we do need a priority and status. Everything you need to start making tasks. Let's put in some bogus data here. We're gonna say test task 1, status not started, due date, maybe we create some date. Let's say, okay, we're gonna be at the date of this recording, then we're gonna have another date. Priority, we're gonna have low, medium and high, and then we're gonna have a task 3, which is gonna be low priority. Right, so populating with bogus data, this is just, to start with. We want to have a preview of our table, what our table will look like. Right, and all of them are assigned per default to me at this point. If you have a family, then the family tasks can be, propagated to multiple people. Then when it comes to projects, we're going to create another projects inline database because we needed to start adding additional fields, which is going to be a relation of the task to the different project. Now we're going to be calling this project, and we're going to be adding similar fields that we have done in tasks, except we're going to be doing like project description. Here projects have a bigger grasp, so we really want to describe project start date, project end date. I really do want 2 fields, project status, and then we're going to be adding the project manager. All right, so with the project manager selected, we can actually now add a relation which we need. So in the tasks, we're gonna say relation, and we're gonna be putting it on the projects DB because it's a two-way relation, and they're gonna be called tasks on the project table. So that means a project can have multiple tasks, but a task can have a single project. So that's what we're gonna do. Test project 1, test project 2. Project description, we're gonna put description 1. It's just putting in some test data to play with, to understand how everything will work. I think it's a really important piece of the puzzle when trying to design such a system, because then you can actually see how your data will look like and all that jazz. So project status, we're gonna have ongoing. Well, that's like a state when everything is happening, which was gonna be blue. Then we're gonna have project manager. I'm just putting myself here because at the moment I'm the only one developing the template, so yeah. Then we're gonna have not started, and it's a green. I mean, green should be done, right? So we're gonna be putting this to default gray or black, whatever it is. And another project state, we're gonna be putting another option. So the first not started, and then ongoing, right? And then we want to be putting in options done. So another option which we are going to be putting in, and that's going to be green. Yeah, come on. Okay, let's change the color. It's green, cool, and it's the done state. Fine. There we go. So setting up the projects, and now in the project DB, I'm just going to say project, which it belongs to, and then we're going to be linking it to the test project. As you can see now, there's like even a page icon, and it's just a matter of, yeah, so test project 1 has task 1 and 2, and project 3 has task 3. All right, fair enough. Now, we're going to be putting everything in a callout, so now it's a time for beautification a little bit. So we're going to be putting projects inside, we're going to be putting in, oh, I forgot to hide the database title, change the icon. Do we want to let this to be the bullseye or the target, I think? Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so this is like the base structure. Now, we really want to be setting up filtered views, and we want to be refining what we have built thus far. Right. So what we want to do is we want to be renaming the view, and we're going to be saying this now, creating a new view that will be properties all, and we're going to be creating stars. So this one is showing all of them. But then we're going to be creating another view, which is going to be once again the table, and those will be by project. So now we want to have our tasks grouped by project because it will make it easier for them to stand out and to be identified. So as said, now we're going to create different views. So this where we're going to be do grouping by project, yeah. And as you can tell, this is pretty much it, and all of them are just here. Okay, so now let's open a single task. We want to be aligning the data how it looks within on the page of a test task. So first we want to have the status, we're going to have the due date assigned to, we want to have a priority a little bit higher up, and then we're going to be designing the templates themselves. Let's open the project, same thing, we have the description, we need to align, okay, project start date, project end date, project manager status needs to be on top, and the test task should be visible below. We're going to do a beautification pass towards the end of this, but for the time being, I need the design to be able to work, and which it is at the moment. Now we have to go into the design of a customized tasks DB. I'm going to be allowing even to have it sub items because I think it would be kind of cool that we enable the sub items, and that will allow us to have the, you know, parent project and dependencies, which I think is kind of good. I do want to turn this into a task database, so we're just making sure that this means by setting this to a task database, it will be showing on the home screen. So if you have multiple databases, look, under my tasks, I have all of my tables which integrate together. So you can see the test task 1 and test task 2, along with some other projects and task tables that I'm using. For example, my YouTube template, which I will be talking in a different video. It's important because my test task integrates data from all of the tables that we have. So the next order of business is editing a template. Yes, and we will be editing a template for a new task. So we're gonna set always priority to the medium, and parent item and sub item, we're not gonna be touching those right now. However, we are gonna be setting an icon just to make it pretty, and I'm thinking something like either task or folder or something of that nature. And as an icon for the new task, I will be selecting a file folder. I know it's not ideal, you can always upload your own things, but I think folder will be presenting like a new task. And it will always be assigned to the person who duplicated the page. So if it's me who's duplicating the page, I'm the default assignee. So we're going to be setting the new task as default for all tasks in the new task database. So every time somebody presses a new, it will be following the template of the new tasks. Now it's a time that we also do the template for the project. So for the project, we're going to set a status of not started. We're going to have the project manager, also person who has duplicated the page. And for the icon, I think we're going to go with the bullseye. And after carefully reviewing all of the possible icons, we're going to be selecting the target, which is the same that we're using for the project. So new template, as you can see, new page and project status new started and the person who duplicated. So we're going to be setting that one as a default for all the projects in this database. correct. I want to be adding an additional field, and that one will be percentage done. So we want to be keeping track of how is project being completed, and it only applies to project because project can have multiple tasks. So we were going to be creating a formula which will calculate how many of the tasks that have this project set as a value are completed. So think of it like a progress bar, progress meter. So we're going to be using here a constant which is let's in Notion. So first we're going to say let's, then we're going to be putting the name for the variable. So we're going to be calling that one tasks underscore complete or tasks done. That's going to be the name for the variable, and then we have to tell Notion how to calculate it. And it's kind of simple. Since we are in the project database, we want to have tasks and then filter for the current. Yeah. So only the tasks that are filtered by current, and then also we want to have status, which is, when formatted, is equal to done. So we will be picking up only those that are filtered. Now, so the tasks done, we have to also calculate how many of them are there. Task done divided by... And here I have noticed actually that I have completely forgotten to take into the account the length, because that will give us a number of how many items are there. So we'll be taking that length and we will be dividing it by the total tasks dot length. That's how we will be getting the final count. So, and we're going to be putting it up as the percentage, right? So tasks done are basically, this is the percentage. So once I check the one task as done, it's already at 50%. So that means that right now there are 50% of the tasks that are done for the test project 1. It's really that simple. So now let's just change the icon. We're going to be changing the icon to the, the check mark as the done percentage, or a progress bar if you will. And then we want to be creating the buttons that will be adding new tasks, new projects, and all that jazz. Let's create a new row, and we're going to be creating the button. The new button is going to be called new task. We're going to be creating an icon for it, and let's see the checkbox. I really like this check mark. Yeah, there we go. So once the check mark is checked, we're going to be adding a page to the tasks database as a new task, which is correct. The title will be empty, and that's it. We're going to be duplicating that button, and let's do the same for the new project. Now with the new project, we want to be selecting a different, we're going to be putting a target, and new project means we're going to be adding the project database as a new page. All right, done. Let's actually create a header. We're going to be calling this shortcuts with a thumbs up. So let me just first put the color of the background to green, as we do always. Then we're going to be putting an emoji of a thumbs up, and we're going to be calling this shortcuts. Then we're going to be creating a callout where we will be putting everything inside. So callout, yes, first the header, shortcuts, then we put a new task, and then we put a new project. There we go. So that's how it looks. And now we're going to be creating 2 columns layout because I think it makes sense. So now we're going to be putting the shortcuts here and the tasks here. And we obviously want to adjust a little bit the ratio between the two. Projects do require more information and more data, so shortcuts here makes perfect sense to me. Okay, layout wise, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. So here we're going to be creating another heading, and we're going to be putting that one into green background. So we're going to be creating the field due today because we want to be warned about the tasks that are due today. So we're going to be putting the alarm clock because it makes sense. And then we're going to be creating a new callout, and we're going to be calling a different view. So first let's actually put here the due today. And now we have these tasks. So we want to create a new view. Copy link to the view. Now we are putting the linked database view. So now we have 2 of the same sort. We're going to change that right away. So first we're going to be renaming this table to nothing, and we're going to be putting a calendar icon or something like that, or alarm clock, alarm bell. Yeah, that makes sense because it's due today. Alright, so under the shortcuts it actually makes sense that we have the due date, but it's not supposed to be due this week, but I'm gonna be changing it to be due today, because you want to be warned about the things that you really need to do today. So right now we're gonna go back to the gallery, because I actually like, let's say, card preview. We're gonna be putting none, card size medium, maybe even we go with small. We're gonna check how does this look. And then we want to be setting the property is the task. We want to see, obviously the due date doesn't actually make much sense if it's due today, but we want to be putting status, what's the priority, and who is it assigned to. Basically these items actually make sense to me. Yeah, we're gonna change start date is not relative today, but it is, and here we'll take a look and says today. Right. This is actually much cleaner, and it helps us focus only on the tasks that we are supposed to be doing today. So I'm gonna save this for everyone, because this actually makes sense. Here we have a list of all of the tasks, and here we could actually add a new empty view, which would be basically due this week or tasks this week. So this is actually a better place, because then in the task you can actually monitor all the things that you want to do during this week, but in the due today you have on as a separate page, basically as a separate view, because it's much more filtered. Cool. Yeah, this actually makes a lot more sense. Also, we can actually group this, and we can group it by high, medium, and low, because then we are grouping it by priority. This is how it currently looks. Now we need to do a little bit of beautification. So test task 1, we're going to be customizing the layout of individual tasks. And this is actually the secret sauce. This is making it really pretty. So you can actually set status, due date, priority, and as the final thing, you can actually put it assigned to. So this is actually showing you all of the things that you need to know on a per task basis. Just look how beautiful it looks. We're going to be also showing the items hide when empty, parent and sub item, because some of the tasks don't have subtasks, which I think it makes sense. Then on the test project, we're also gonna customizing the layout. Project has actually a different thing. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna be pinning, let's say, project status, project start date, percentage done, it's kind of important, and project manager perhaps. The project description I would like to have as a separate field. And start date and end date and task is separate. So I'm actually thinking first we're gonna apply like this. Project end date is really important. What I would like to also add is tabbed. So here we have the content, and here we're gonna be adding tasks, because when you're reviewing the project, this will actually gives us all the tasks that are relevant to that project, which I think is amazing, because it's one of the new Notion features that has been recently introduced, and I think it's really good if you want a summary of all of the tasks that are related to this current project. You can actually have them sorted out. From the gallery perspective, we don't want it as a table, but I think having it as a list shows much more promise. So if we have it as a list, we can actually add additional values, so like the status, when it's due date, and what's the priority, and whom it has been assigned to. So now we just want to reshuffle these a little bit, just so they look a little bit more prettier. I'm thinking that the priority and the status should go together, and the due date to be at the back. Yeah, this actually looks much nicer, and I think I'm gonna keep it that way. Just look how nice it looks. So now we have also project description. Now the description is typically a field which is a little bit bigger. You want to be able to describe your project, what it has, what are its limitations, what's the purpose of the project. So this is never a one-liner. And in that case, we do want to edit the layout so it stands out on its own as a separate field. So we're going to be fixing that as well. So if we go to the test project 1, we have this description, this is a very long description. And the reason for me typing this, because I want to show you how badly it clips and how badly it looks once it's really a lot of lines added, and why it makes sense to have it separate on its own as a separate, completely separate field. So here we're going to do just that. We're adding additional field, and it's project description. We're going to be putting it on top and apply to all pages. Now look at this. Project description looks perfect. It looks pretty nice. We can edit its own field. We're gonna have book open. Yeah, project start and project end date, and it looks like a new page, and this is the list of the tasks. I'm actually pretty happy the way that this looks, and we can definitely use it going further. Now, there are some projects that are being blocked by some other projects, so we're going to be creating a relation between the same table. This is blocked by, and it's related to this database, and inverse relation is blocking. So if you have two test projects, for example, one project is, let's say you want to build a wall at your house, but you need to find maybe a contractor. Maybe that's not a good example. They're not the best examples of the projects, but one project could be blocking another from implementation, and I wanted to capture this in the project field. I have forgotten. We need to add one more thing. So when we're adding a property, we want to open this page so that we can immediately edit it. So once we actually add a new field, we want to immediately open it so that we can edit it and add everything that we want. So test project 3, for example. Now, ideal thing here, once I've populated this, would be if I could create all of the tasks that are related to this project. And hold that thought, we're gonna be adding a button immediately on the project page that will allow us to populate all of the tasks necessary for that project. Now we have subtasks. As you can tell, we have moved one subtask to the other. So subtask, in my opinion, it's handy if you have one task that can be diverted to many more subtasks, but it has a downside. Downside being that if you have the new subtask, that one is no longer visible under the tasks due today. So here I'm going to show you how you create a separate subtask. So subtask can actually be done in add a page to the database, task database, and the most important thing is when you're adding the property, you need to set the parent item as this page. Because once you're adding this, all of the subtasks that you create will be under that page. Right. Okay. So if you press now a new subtask for the given task, test task 1, let's press a new subtask and we're going to add another subtask, subtask 2. So that one has a parent of test task 1, and when you open it, you will be able to see them like this. If you have the value of having subtasks, if that's your thing, by all means go at it. I have tested and I have played with it quite a while, and at the end I have decided to completely remove it from my Notion database. Now, the idea is, what I want to do automations, and there is a real value in having automations that will be triggering on the due date. Now, Notion doesn't allow you to set an automation that's triggering an automation, and that's something that I've been voicing on the Notion tips page. So if you have missed that video, do check it out as a separate video, but this is the way how you can do a workaround. So you first introduce a new status, which is due today. And as a due today, you're creating and viewing an automation that says, okay, for all pages in the tasks database, we want to be setting a new trigger. So first we're going to be calling due today setting. New trigger would be every, so this is the schedule task, every day. I want to be, this is now 11:51, so I'm going to be setting the task to fire around 12 p.m., which is noon. If I manage to make the automation in 10 minutes, well, it's going to be interesting. 9 minutes from now, every day at noon, we want to do the new action. We're going to be editing the pages in the tasks database, and by default it says editing all of the tasks, which is wrong. We want to be editing only the task where the due date is, where the start date is not relative, but it is today. So all of the tasks where the state is today, you want to be setting the status to due today. It's really that simple. That means that it will be changing and editing all of the tasks. We're going to be flipping them to due today. Now, there's a second automation that we're going to be build, and that one will be happening due today notification. This is a second automation which is actually triggering on the state change. So when status is set to due today, do send a notification to person property, and we have the person property right now. That's the person assigned to. So that's why we have this assigned to, and we want to be doing a custom message. You can actually say the task, and then you want to be inserting the mention, the trigger page, which is this page that you are working with. So the trigger page's task is due today. Nothing more fancy than that. And that will be popping up in your income alerts as the notification telling you, okay, you have a task that is due today. So now we're going to be waiting until the task executes. Sometimes you have to note this is not exactly at 12 o'clock, but it executes around this time. And as you can tell, the status got changed to due today, and another automation sent a trigger to my inbox and also to my mobile phone, which is really nice because it keeps reminding me that I have tasks to do. I found this to be a very good and very handy tip, and that's something that I've been talking in my Notion tips video. So if you want to check those out, link will be provided in the description below. Then we need to be, I'm gonna say not at 12 p.m. noon, because this was basically for just this showcase. I prefer to have it around midnight, that the status are being immediately flipped, so I get notified earlier on when I wake up, when I'm drinking my morning coffee. Then I can actually be notified of the new tasks. So now the idea is to capture the tasks that don't have a due date, because they can actually slip through the cracks. So we're going to be creating a new view, which is called Inbox, and we're going to be putting it... Why did I put this? Hold on. Why did I put the money beside it? It should be actually the folder. All right, doesn't matter. We're going to be editing it. Let's hide the database title. And here we're implementing a new filter where status is not complete. That's one thing. Let's just save it for everybody. And also we need to add to advanced filter, and there is no due date, because a lot of our applications are depending on the due date. So to notify us, which means that we really want to have a filter tasks with no due date. Inbox will keep reminding us of the tasks that we need to review and set some sort of a due date on. The next thing that I want to be introducing is a lot of these tasks and projects can have an associated cost. For example, you need to go and buy some things for the house, and you have a task for it. But you also want to be knowing, okay, what's the amount of money that I've spent on it? So here you will be able to put on the cost, you'll be able to input the amount of money that you have spent for the given task, and those will actually add up in the project to accumulated project costs. So for example, let's say that you're building a fence on your house. All of the tasks that are related will be grouping it under the project, and the costs will be accumulating to the total cost of the project, which I think is really important if you want to be keeping track either on your finances or anything else. So here we have our sample tasks that are collecting the cost. So now in the project we need to reflect that. So right now we want to be adding an additional field. We're going to be saying project cost, and that actually needs to be a formula. So let's just quickly find the formula. There we go. And we're going to be editing that formula, give it a cash machine, because we're going to be spending money on it. So yeah, we're going to also go with let's, and we say let's. We can say task cost. This is the value. We're going to be doing map all of the tasks of current dot cost. And then we're going to be putting that. And then we're going to be saying sum all of the task costs. It's that simple. Doesn't need to be more complex than that. That works. Right. And it's also be US dollar for value, decimal places 2. I think that actually pretty much covers it. So that's the project cost. And we're going to be putting it right next to the done percentage, because it's an important field to keep track of. Now let's test this field. Let's say that the sample task is tied to the project 1. It costs $200. And then we're gonna be putting another sample task 3, another $10. So total cost is $210 for the projects that are related to. So if we say new task, we're also gonna be putting the cost field, due date. So let's say sample task 3 or 4 or whatever, P2. We're gonna be putting due date this week. We're gonna be putting cost of $50, and project is sample project 2. Right. So now let's check how does it translate to the project cost, and as you can tell, it works pretty wonders. So I actually think that this is actually pretty nice, and it wraps up nicely what we have done today. So thank you very much for watching, and like if you like this video, and stay subscribed for more videos like this, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching.